Welcome back to the channel, folks. We are going to have a quick video today, just a look at some of these world coins that just came back from PCGS. We looked at these before they were submitted, and I offered my thoughts on what I thought they would grade at the time, and that video is accessible by searching through the archives of my past videos. It should only be a couple months back. But here we have an 1828 Mexico 8 reales coin, which I thought was XF borderline AU at the time. It's got luster and it's got pretty much full detail. Typical weakness of strike in the center on the Libertad, but the devices are struck up, and the luster that is exhibited over the entirety of the coin pretty much indicates that this is XF, if not AU. I was concerned that these scratches would obviously hold it to a details grade. I didn't think they were adjustment marks. Those would be more uniform. These are clearly scratches of some sort, and indeed they did prevent the coin from straight grading, but the surfaces are absolutely original and beautiful, and the color is pristine. And as you can see the luster flowing over the reverse, the high point eagle feathers, and the detail throughout the wreath, and all the lettering and the denticles are pretty much struck all the way to the top. For a coin that's 200 years old, it's in pretty good shape. And these are pretty scarce indeed. Only 7 in total graded at PCGS, and the finest graded is an AU 55. So this is something you don't see every day, and you know, these are selling for anywhere from $500 to $1,000 in AU. With the XF detail, it's probably closer to the 500 end. Still a nice coin and a desirable coin, even if it's in the XF details holder, because the surfaces are original. The coin's clearly not been cleaned, at least not harshly, and it just has a lot of eye appeal. So that was pretty much as expected. Oh, that's the old slab from that submission. Will be coming back next week or 2 weeks or so. Actually, it's grading right now and being imaged. So that's from when we cracked out those INS and ACG coins. So that will be the next video. Next up, in the same world coin submission, we see King Edward VII on the obverse of this deeply toned piece that doesn't come around every day. And I'll get a straight grade on this one. This is a Straits settlement, 50 cents, or 50 cent, SEN, but it does have the 50 cents. And this coin is another one that's surprisingly worth a lot more than you might think at first blush. This was in a box of coins, box of world coins mixed in with a bunch of clad and very common world coins from an auction in Searsport, Maine last September. And somehow mixed in was this piece, which I thought would grade XF, possibly AU, but I didn't think there was enough luster for AU. The deep toning makes it even harder to grade, but it did come back AU 50, and somewhere in that $500 to $800 range, surprisingly, on this coin. Not too many have sold in the last 3 or 4 years, but the ones that have all consistently realized that amount. So that was nice. We sent in, let's see if I can find, we have a couple of coins from Germany, including this Third Reich. Five Reichsmark coin, 1936. It's got a lot of contact marks, but it does have full luster, and I thought the coin would probably grade AU 58. I thought there was just a hint of rub on it, on the wreath in particular. Top of the eagle, the breast there, but although looking at it now, I mean, the light just rolls over without any break, so I knew it would be close, but there was also some hairlines scattered throughout the field, so don't send these in on any kind of regular basis, so no idea what to expect from this one. But this was from the J Mint, and that letter, mint mark letter, is right here to the bottom of the date, and that happens to be a scarcer variety. And as you can see, we got the MS62 grade J367 swastika 5MK. I'm not really sure what MK is. If you know, please feel free to leave it in the comments, but it's definitely a 5 Reichsmark. So maybe MK is short for mark. Coin value somewhere in the probably 150 to 250 range. Now, there were a couple other German coins, but they were the Federal Republic coins from the 1950s, and some of these are worth just a couple bucks. Some of them are worth quite a bit more. And this was part of an auction last year that nobody wanted to bid on, and the auctioneer just kind of threw these in with another lot, and they just went for a couple bucks. When you look at the NGC price guide for this 1954 G, and the G is down the bottom here, it's somewhere, they go right from fine to XF to mint state, and this one graded AU 50, but I think a fine is a $24 coin, and then XF it jumps up to, I want to say, either 250 or 450. I think 250, and then mint state is like over $1,000. It's pretty crazy. Not a lot have sold. I found it kind of hard to believe a coin from the mid-50s could be that valuable, and I guess time will tell. I'm probably more inclined to think it might sell for $100 if it sells at all, but I guess we shall see. And then another one from that same era, same German Federal Republic, very similar coin, another 1 Deutschmark, 1957. This would be a J mint, you can see the J there. Bundesrepublik Deutschland, very cool. Clearly there's wear on this one, on top of the eagle's breast, and definitely not a mint state coin. Similar to the last one, maybe a little more luster, and PCGS saw it the same way with an AU 55. This one's probably worth 80 to 100 bucks, something like that. We sent in quite a few Florins from Great Britain that were all mostly AU, and this one, oops, was my mistake. I think I sent this one in by accident. You can see there's some tar or something over here, and that ended up resulting in a genuine residue XF detail. So that one will crack out and soak in acetone, but this one from the same generation, 1 year later, 1907, straight graded. Oops. These are very popular, I've noticed. A few of them have sold raw on eBay pretty quickly for $40 or $50. So this one being graded by PCGS, deeply toned. You love it or you hate it. Toning's not exactly attractive. It's approaching terminal, in fact. AU 53, so surprised that this one's AU and the last one was XF. The other one looked just as lustrous, if not more. Hard to tell. And then we had a few more, actually quite a few more, Florins from a later generation. The next, there was a little technical difficulties there. So the difference in the next generation is the bust facing left instead of facing right, and the reverse is a very different reverse as well. 1 florin, the equivalent of 2 shillings. And this is King Edward VII. So this was after the passing of Queen Victoria. King Edward took over, and this one's quite lustrous. I thought this one, amongst, well, there was 5 or 6 of these sent in. They're all pretty close, and they're all very closely graded. This one actually was graded 62. It's the only one that came back mint state. You can see how much the luster rolls over the entirety of the coin. When I show you the next one, which is also in 1916. This one did not grade mint state, but it's very close. You can see just the tiniest amount of luster break up the top of the coin, the high points of the coin rather. Other than that, it's extremely close and very similar to the last one. And this one was graded 58. And then there were a bunch of these, so we won't look at all of them. Well, we'll look at a couple quickly. There's another 58 a year later. 58 is one of my preferred grades. It has all of the eye appeal of a mint state 63 or 64, but it has just a tiny bit of friction or luster break. You can't really get the 58 grade though without really nice eye appeal, so it's always been a preferred grade, and many times those 58s will sell stronger than 61s or 62s just because of the eye appeal. Here's another 58. This one doesn't have the toning that the others have. There's a couple little marks on it, but that's typical on these. Really hard and scarce to find these above a 62 grade. 64, 65 are very, very scarce, and their values go up accordingly. Then, let's see. Yeah, so like this one came back 61. This is from a previous submission, but you can see there's a lot of chatter. There's a big gash on the chin or the neck. So you can almost see why a 58 would be so much more desirable, even though this coin is technically mint state. We had a lot of Newfoundland and Canadian coins, including these dimes that we're about to show you. This dime is a rare date, 1870, and the 1870 has a couple different varieties. It has the wide O or 0 on the end of the date and the narrow 0. And if you look at the 0 in 10, that's the wide 0. That's the same 0 they would use on the wide date. You can see this 0 is not as big, quite a bit smaller, and therefore we got the narrow 0, but we got a clean designation on this, which was somewhat disappointing. They're very liberal when grading these because just about all of these coins have been cleaned. In fact, all of the Canadian or Newfoundland half dollars, none of those would straight grade at piece, if they were US coins. So I guess it's just a matter of how harshly they have been cleaned, but this one certainly doesn't seem to be harshly cleaned, so I'm not exactly sure what their process is in determining what's cleaned and what's not with some of these coins. And just to further demonstrate, this one clearly has a crustier, more original skin on it. You can just tell, it also is a little bit of a lower grade, so it's a little bit more worn and has a different type of look to it, but this one did straight grade, as you can see. 1871, another scarce date. The 1870 narrow 0, by the way, is about $100 to $150 coin, even with the details grade, and this one was a VF25, which makes sense. If the last one was XF, that seems to be about right, and this coin's probably worth close to 100. And then we have in 1891, and the 1891 dime has a couple different varieties as well, which I'll show you in a minute, but this one you can see the hair and the wreath and the detail, those fine lines. There's a roundness to the cheek, and you can see the jawline separation where the neck starts. Nice definition on the ear. Everything is pretty well, most of it's the detail remaining. Same for the reverse. You can see the fine detail in the leaves, the veins within the leaves, and the intricacies of the crown, which led me to think this coin would XF based on how the other coins had been graded. And in fact, I had predicted XF40, and it's exactly where it landed. And you can see this one is the 21 leaf variety. The other variety being the 22 leaf variety, and I don't think either one of them is rarer than the other. I think the 21 leaf might be slightly rarer, but if you count the leaves, that's where you get your 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You know, that didn't really come out good in this. Let's see if I can get a better background here. Starting from the top left, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The 22 leaf one has an extra leaf on one of the branches. It only has 2 leaves, which I think it's this one right here. I believe there. It's probably this one has that 3rd leaf, which is missing on the 21 leaf variety. So that's a cool little variety. And we have a couple more dimes to look at real quick. And the first one being this 1894, which again has a nice crusty look to it, nice original look, if you will. Straight graded, so that was good. And seemed to be very consistent in terms of the amount of wear and the overall condition of the coin as the previous VF25, which is, I think I predicted this as a VF20, maybe a little bit less, but it did come back 35, so that kind of shocked me. It seemed to be a little bit flatter than, you don't see that jawline that you saw on the XF, and there's just a lot of flatness on the hair. But surprisingly, you know, you do have a good amount of detail on the leaves and on the crown. It's certainly not really XF. I would have probably leaned more towards a 25, but I am not the expert. And last but not least, we have an 1874 H for the Heaton Mint in London. These coins were struck in London and delivered to Canada, shipped to Canada. And this coin is very similar to the last one in terms of the detail. Maybe a touch flatter. The crown certainly a little bit flatter. The leaves are not as detailed as the previous coin. And this one came back VF25. Let's see, there's a few other ones as well. Some of these we've seen already. So we will leave it at that, and we will prepare for the next video, which will be the submission that's coming back from the INS and AccuGrade coins that were cracked out. That was like this 1925 piece dollar. I'm sure we've seen enough videos on these supposed deep mirrored Morgans that really probably won't come back with deep mirrors. This 82S was the nicest of them all. Probably proof-like on a couple of them, and probably that's about it. But we will see how that goes in a couple weeks, and please let me know if you have any questions or any comments or anything you'd like to see in the future. Please feel free to leave it in the comments. You can visit us at samscoinsandheavymetal.com. You can send us an email at samscoinsandheavymetal@gmail.com, or find us on eBay under the same name, Sam's Coins and Heavy Metal, with an underscore in between each word. And thank you very much. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're so inclined, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.